Before the show about
Mm-hmm.
Chris Jones. Chris Jones, of course, tweets from Juan Thornhill and who replied to him? I'm trying to
replied
remember.
to one of them, yeah.
Zedarius. Yeah. And hinting that Chris Jones could come to Cleveland. And do not get me wrong, I'd be happy with it, but I don't know how we would afford it with being able to have that rollover money go to next year. Not only that, but the trade value you'd be getting, like, you'd be making a very expensive trade because it's an in-conference team, and you'd be having to sign him to a massive contract. So what I will say is this: I'm not ruling out that we won't buy, and I'm not ruling out that we won't buy a D tackle. However, at the trade deadline, teams, to maximize their value of a player, will sometimes retain the salary. It's very, very rare, but it occasionally does happen. Imagine there's a world where the Browns can find a way to, at the trade deadline, trade for a guy who's going to go one last time, one last ride, and wants to try to win a Super Bowl in Aaron Donald.
No, we can't do this. We
I'm
can't
just
do
saying.
this.
I'm just saying. Listen, it makes more sense than Chris Jones now. That's all I'll say. I'm not going to say it's going to happen, but if this team does what I'm going to predict it will do, we're going to be in a situation where we could buy at the deadline. And that's the type of player where the Rams bought Von Miller from the Broncos. And what was the trade? Like a second round pick, and the Broncos retained some of Von's salary it was a 1-year deal. They retained the salary. But, Aaron Donald, it was looking like he was going to retire, and this Rams team is not really legit.
No.
So,
hell no.
It's not looking good for them. But that being said, if they are sellers at the deadline and we are buyers, I think we could make it happen. I think we could. It's more feasible than
Chris Jones.
Than Chris Jones,
Yeah.
100%. But I just want to put that out there now, that it's a possibility for the future. But again, it would take a lot. With that being said,
okay, since we're talking about, I want to talk about it. First of all, context here, right? Tristan jumps on, and I asked him if he saw the news, and he said no. So my brain instantly was like, okay, I'm gonna fuck with him. So I go, the Browns traded for Chris Jones, and of course he was like, no, we didn't. I was talking about the Wyatt Teller news, but since we're talking about it, Twitter's all over it. No, it's not happening. Just strictly because, hey, Nick Bosa just got a massive contract. And he deserved it, yes. But if you think the Browns can afford Myles Garrett, why did I forget his name? Holy shit. Deshaun Watson. Why did I forget Deshaun Watson's name? The Browns can't afford Myles Garrett and Deshaun Watson's contract as it is. We're finding ways to get around it. Do you think that we're going to be able to go out and trade for a defensive tackle who's going to want significant money like that? No. It's just not happening. Now, with that being said, Aaron Donald, yes, is a little bit different. Okay, I'll give you that. It's a little bit different. But I still don't think it's happening. And I'll tell you why. I don't think...
No.
Do I want to say this? I don't think we need Aaron Donald this year. I don't think we're desperate enough to need Aaron Donald anymore.
And that's fair. I mean, based off of what this line looks like right now, yeah, you really don't need Aaron Donald right now. However, what if there's an injury?
Yeah.
What if? That's what this is about. I think we've got enough flexibility where we could do something at the deadline if there's an injury to fill in a gap, or if everybody's healthy, then you're able to make a move kind like that to go over the top and put yourself into another stratosphere. Because, I mean, a defensive line of that caliber in today's NFL, it would be probably considered one of the best defensive
Ever,
lines the NFL's
ever,
ever seen,
ever.
ever,
Yeah.
ever seen. I mean, you're talking. You would have Miles Garrett lined up next to Aaron Donald.
Oh.
They'd
With
have all five guys over
Zadarius
there.
Smith lined up next to Dalvin Tomlinson. No.
You'd have teams running like 9 offensive line sets.
Dude, you know what? The only
with that,
team,
and
the
we'd still
only
get pressure.
team that would
We'd
be
still
able
get
to
pressure.
move the ball would be the Baltimore Ravens because they would be able to just run around. That's it.
I'll also
Hmm.
say this: Pittsburgh does a fantastic job of
Hmm.
taking away pressure.
Scheming
They
up,
do a
yeah.
great job of it because all they do is just short
Mhm.
passes. Like that's what's always like
Oh, that's all they
killed
can
me
do. But
whenever we've played. Like that's what every single time we've played the Steelers over the past
mhm.
couple of years, they realize how good Miles Garrett is, and he almost never gets pressure in those games, and it's because they just it's two-step drop right out of the hand. It's
Yeah.
every time. But we'll
Uh,
get into that. We'll get into
it's
that.
not happening. I mean, I think it's more realistic
No,
that the
no.
Browns at the trade deadline. Okay, I don't want to put any bad juju out there, but I think if there's one spot that the Browns could make a trade, might be to replace Grant Delpit because he's injury prone. He's still a question mark a little bit. I love Grant Delpit, but I could see it. Like if we're really, really good, we just need that spot. Like he's struggling and they don't feel good about Ronnie Hickman or D'Anthony Bell starting and somebody becomes available.
I think you're forgetting we have Rodney McLeod.
Yeah, but I think they view him as a free safety. Do you not?
And I think so too, but here's the thing. Juan Thornhill, I think, has that
Mm-hmm.
versatility where he could slide into the role that Grant Delpit might be expecting to fill
Okay. So you
if
think they just flip
necessary.
flop?
So
They'd have
that's where I
Thornhill
see.
go. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't
Yeah.
know.
But I mean, I get what you're saying though, because the weird thing with safety is like safety's not a position on the roster where you
Hmm.
have depth there. Like you just don't carry a lot of guys there.
Which we kept
So
both.
one
We
injury could
kept both,
really
Tristan.
screw you.
Ronnie Hickman and Anthony Bell
I
both
know.
made it. Crazy.
See, now that's a special
Yeah.
teams thing. I think for me, it's more so a case of special teams. I think both guys are great
Hmm.
special teamers. But I expect that if they do see some snaps, that they'll be solid. But yeah, no, I get what you're saying, and I wouldn't necessarily say that you're wrong, especially if there is an injury in that situation. But I don't know. I just don't see them investing at safety when, um, you've got such a good
Yeah.
corner room. like I mean, ultimately the problem, if there is to be a problem, it will arise, and we will
Hmm.
both know what if when the trade deadline comes, if we are buying,
I
where
think
we
it could
need
be
to buy.
linebacker again.
We
I
will both
think
know.
it could be linebacker again.
It could. Yeah, it
It's
could.
too early to guess,
um
though.
yeah,
That's,
if there's injuries. But yeah, exactly, we haven't seen regular season football yet, so it's really hard to make that
yeah. But
judgment
long
right now.
story
But
short, we're not trading for
yeah,
Chris Jones. And I highly doubt we're trading for
no,
Aaron Donald. So sorry. I know Twitter
yeah.
break your heart. Sorry. But with that being said, Tristan,